What's happening, everybody? Bret Mix here, Macho Wrestling 101, and welcome back to the Monday Night Wars, where we review the shows in under 10 minutes. This is week 106. The ratings for this week's Raw were a huge 3.1 this week. Nitro also scored a great rating of 4.1. WCW now wins for the 68th week in a row. Nitro won by a full 1 point in the Nielsen TV ratings this week. So now, after this week's loss for Raw, the total scoreboard has Raw at 17 wins all time since the war began, 87 losses, and 2 draws through the 106 weeks. So again, Raw only has won 17 times in those 106 weeks. And WCW won by a full point. Again, this show this week went on live Monday night on the USA Network, November the 17th, 1997. Took place from the Civic Complex in Cornwall, Ontario, Canada. Another Canadian show. After this Survivor Series 97, which was last week's episode when it was the night after. This week, it's all DX mocking everybody they can, including Sergeant Slaughter, but we get to that. We open the show with clips of what was supposed to air last week, close to the show, which closed the show, when Commissioner Slaughter went up to Triple H and the show kind of went off the air. We open up with clips of what was supposed to air en route to their match at In Your House DX. To actually open up the show live, though, we have a very over Stone Cold Steve Austin enter the ring with his black vest and black hat, IC title in his hands. Austin had the crowd in his hands. Austin took over the mic when Schimmel wasn't done announcing his name. Stone Cold Steve rips the mic right out of his hand. Austin says, "If you want Steve Austin to open up a can of whoop ass on Rocky Maivia, give me a hell yeah." The fans chant hell yeah, as this was his new catch line now, Austin. He practiced it a couple times before this, so it's not the first time he said that, but it's a relatively new saying that the fans, it's really the first thing he really did to interact with the fans on the microphone, and he kept back going with them, which only got more popular, as everyone probably knows. That's a good thing about watching these reviews. You can watch the wars on your own time schedule, and you can pop up my reviews. They're archived for that reason, so you don't have to follow along with me, but reviews are always here for whenever you want to click back and relive these shows. The Nation's theme hits, and all other of the Nation members come to the ring, and Austin takes off his hat, ready to take them all on. D'Lo Brown gets in the ring and takes the stunner. Maivia sneaks into the ring and stole the IC title from Austin. Rock then holds it up high as he stole the IC title from Stone Cold after that segment between the Nation and Austin. We open up stuff in the ring with Jerry the King Lawler against Mark Merrill with Sable. On commentary was Jim Ross and Jim Cornette for this, obviously, as Lawler's in the ring. Sable was getting more over in the company than Merrill, which was the underlying story here. Lawler stayed his regular heel character into the summer/fall/1998. Then he became more of a comedic heel rather than a coward heel. The end of the Burger King era. Brian Christopher gets a close look during the match to scout his daddy, the man soon to be known as Marvelous Mark Marrow, not Mello. Marrow goes for his boxing tricks, and Lawler grabs the turnbuckle. Marrow wears out Lawler, and King uses his body weight to throw him to the floor. Christopher then tells Sable how sexy he is while King wrestles Marrow, hitting a snapmare and a fist to the face. King hits a pile driver, then Sable goes for the King with a whip across the throat. King wins by DQ at the end as Marrow hits a TKO to the King, but is mad at Sable for DQing himself. This progressed the Marrow, Sable, Butterbean story, so I guess is what it is going to be called. It was decent, but the in-ring stuff was rather dreadful. I gave it a 1/4 of a star. And that's not the last we'd hear of Marrow and Butterbean for the night. Vince is giving the Bret Scoot Bret interview. Not going to read out the transcript, but it's just Vince justifying in his own ways. Arrogant and somewhat rational. It wasn't a black and white case. There is some truth to McMahon's sayings, but it's mostly bullshit. New Age Outlaws take on Los Pericuas, Miguel and Perez. The Outlaws came out dressed as Los Pericuas. Some decent brawling under a minute. I didn't give it a rating. It only lasted 44 seconds. They run a Ken Shamrock vignette, pumping up him as they realize a live promo with Shamrock won't go far along as a vignette of Shamrock because he doesn't have the greatest mic skills. So, if you think back to last week when Shamrock grabbed the mic and said, "You're a disgrace to the whole human race," you kind of figure that this was probably the next in line for him. Max Mini, Mini Taraz, and Mini Nova take on El Torito, Tarantula, and Battalion in a 6-man tag team match with Sonny as the guest referee for the Midgets. It ended in a no contest at 2:48 after Kane's music hit during the tag match. No rating for this match. Kane just beat the hell out of everybody in the ring. Kane looked for destruction, but the headbangers came out with a weapon, dropping the boombox on him. Kane then dominated both of the headbangers with a boot to the face and a tombstone piledriver as Kane's reign of terror lives on. Hour 2 begins. More Bret Screwed Bret commentary by Vince, including the commentary of Bret selling out by McMahon, which is complete BS, if you know the whole story anyway. DX comes out for the first time, where the Titantron plays the screens, the clips, and then it goes back to live feed, to the clips from the Titantron, back to a live feed. First time that's ever happened while the DX comes out. A real shot-and-shot, cool video package formulation. HBK mentions how he ran Bret's ass out of the WWF and beat up every single member of his family. There's only one thing I have to do, and that is beat on Bret Hart's friends. And then if that's you, Shamrock, then that's what's going to happen. As HBK said, that's on his bucket list, so to speak. He's already gone through the Hart Foundation. Now he's going to go through their friends. And if that's Shamrock, that's Shamrock. Triple H then takes the mic and says, Sergeant Slaughter, get your fat ass out here. Slaughter and Triple H go chin to face, if you get what I mean. Slaughter with his big chin sticking out. Triple H hits the pedigree on Sergeant Slaughter as the segment ends, leading, of course, to In Your House DX, where the two would meet each other. Scott Taylor then took on Eric Shelley in a WWF Light Heavyweight Championship quarterfinal match. Jeff Jarrett on the phone during this match claims he's the biggest star in the company. He runs down Austin's. He says Austin's one move wonder, which is hilarious. No wonder Stone Cold didn't like him. He also says he uses the Bible to make himself more enormous than he is. Distasteful, just says Jarrett. A cartwheel French shoulder block went to the top for some aerial moves. A float over DDT to the top, and Taylor won the match at 5:27. I gave it 2 stars and 3/4. A really great match here. Miro comes out with Sable and goes nuts on Butterbean in the front row. Miro says he's got, just like the rest of the crowd, chanting Sable, Sable, so Butterbean in the front row chants Sable to bother him more. Bean gets face-to-face with Miro in the ring as Sable seems to be in distress. Bean lands a shot on Miro as he rolls out of the ring after Miro told Butterbean his accomplishments, as he was a five-time New York State Golden Glove boxing champion. Then they go to the Bret Screwed Bret promo again. This is the end of it. We've all heard the sayings. Honestly, this video is so popular I don't need to quote it, but Vince justifying his own actions, calling Bret out a sellout to boot, is just distasteful. Each of the things he blamed Bret for were in part his own fault. So that segment really takes up a large part of the show, and it just makes you hate Vince, which is good in the long run for this company, of course. Vader came out for action, and the emotionally and physically broken Goldust, who he'd been feuding with had a wrist hand injury and a cast. Vader reads a doctor's note, but Goldust grabs something from his sleeve and knocked Vader down. It seemed to knock him out, while Goldust walked backwards up the ramp. Slaughter comes to this ring in this promo-driven show to deliver yet another promo and says he confirms that in Your House DX, he'll take on Triple H, which got a big pop. In the main event of Raw, Dude Love took on Rocky Maivia with D'Lo Brown, Farouk, and Kama Mustafa. Foley and Rock would have plenty of future classics, but this is a greener Maivia against a Foley who's in the third of his best persona, so to speak. So it's not exactly going to spell out a classic with a greener Rock and Foley as Dude Love in a Raw match that doesn't even go 5 minutes. So we're not going to expect greatness here. But Maivia cuts a quick promo on himself, calling himself the best damn Intercontinental Champion of all time when he was. He's just holding Austin's IC title because he stole it earlier in the show. Dude looked on the left arm of the Rock. He came back, and the Rock used his impressive move, that tornado DDT that always wowed the crowd. They always pop for that, as that's just a great float over tornado DDT by the Rock. He's starting to be called the Rock now here too. Both men brawl mid-ring as the shorter main event match closes in on its climax. Love hits sweet shin music in a double arm DDT, but Rocky's friends break it up. Dude Love wins by DQ at 4:22 after the Nation breaks it up, and the Nation start whipping him. After the match, there was Austin, who ran to the ring and beat the hell out of the Nation, stunning D'Lo Brown for the second time in the night. To end the show, they had Rock back up on the ramp as the Rock backed up by the Titantron holding Austin's belt in the air. Austin came to the ring and beat up the Nation and flipped the Rock off from the ring as Rock walks back up the ramp holding his Austin's IC title. Quality rating wise, I gave this show, I give it a 6 out of 10. Normally on a storyline driven show, it'd have to be a low rating, especially with a few of them were duds. But if stories are compelling, if rivalries grow, if characters are born, factions gain credibility, and the in-ring promos go from gripping to reality, like in the McMahon Bret case, then yeah, this show can get more of a positive rating. 6 out of 10 does seem right. It's slightly better than average rating it deserves. So we're getting into the Attitude Era really deep here now. Austin and Rock are feuding. We got McMahon coming up as a popular heel. So that's it for this week's episode of Raw Review. 6 out of 10. We'll see you on the next one. I love doing this. Hit like and subscribe. And for Macho Wrestling 101, I'm Bret Mix. We'll see you next week on the Raw Review. I'm out.